giant tabletop model of the New York World's Fairgrounds is the scene of a ceremony attended by Billy Graham and members of his team as they envision the site of the Billy Graham Pavilion. Present with Mr. Graham are Pavilion architect Edward Durrell Stone and Graham staff members Dan Pyatt and George Wilson. The Billy Graham Pavilion will cover a 50,000 square foot plot of ground contributed by the fair management, a site strategically located near one of the main entrances to the fair. The Graham organization has the responsibility of securing funds for the pavilion's construction and operation. Sole purpose of the project is to give the estimated 70 to 80 million fair visitors an opportunity to hear the gospel and commit their lives to Christ. After visualizing the fair in miniature, Mr. Graham and his associates moved out of doors for a groundbreaking ceremony.
Mr. Patterson, General Moses, General Potter, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great privilege for us to be here today. We have accepted the invitation of the World's Fair officials to build an evangelistic pavilion where we can present the biblical message with an evangelistic emphasis that has characterized our ministry through the years. We believe that man stands at the crossroads of eternity. A decision of vast importance must soon be made by the human race.
For the Billy Graham Pavilion, Worldwide Pictures is producing a motion picture entitled Man in the Fifth Dimension, being filmed in Todd AO 70mm for exhibition on a giant wraparound screen. An effective and unusual outreach of the gospel, another milestone in revival in our time. The 12-story high stainless steel Unisphere, the largest structure of its kind ever conceived, like the fair, is a towering tribute to human ingenuity. And the race is on to Flushing Meadow, to what will undoubtedly become the world's #1 attraction. At the end of the 2 seasons of its existence, the fair will have been open a total of 360 days. And by closing day, October 17th, 1965, total attendance is expected to exceed 70 million. Pavilion after pavilion, display upon exotic display. Each reflects in its own inimitable manner the creative energy of man. And fairgoers must summon considerable personal energy to explore the many avenues of the sprawling park-like grounds. It has been estimated that one would have to walk 14 miles for at least 12 8-hour days to fully experience all of this glittering testimonial. More than 80 nations are represented at the fair with displays of national products, peoples, and customs, giving weight to the general exposition theme, Peace Through Understanding. Strongly aware that there is one gigantic stumbling block to the world dream of peace and prosperity, man himself, that the human race hungers and thirsts for something more than food, shelter, education, and the good life. The Billy Graham Evangelistic Association determined to erect a pavilion that would minister to the visitor's deepest spiritual yearnings. The Billy Graham Pavilion, designed by the internationally renowned Edward Durrell Stone, is an architectural jewel, strategically located only a few paces from the main entrance to the fairgrounds. It houses a display area, a 400-seat theater, offices, and counseling rooms. The 100-foot pavilion tower is crowned by a brilliant and symbolic sunburst. Man in the Fifth Dimension, a powerfully stated evangelistic film produced by Worldwide Pictures, is shown hourly from 10 each morning until 10 each evening, 7 days a week. It's not unusual for lines to form well in advance of each showing. Inside the theater, the audience relives the story of mankind from the dawn of creation to the space age. Todd AO and Technicolor techniques give new impetus to an age-old message. Fair officials designated June 26th as Billy Graham Day, when coincidentally the evangelist personally greeted the 12 millionth visitor to pass through the turnstiles. Billy Graham Day was a warm Friday afternoon. Choosing to ignore or endure the harsh sunlight, a crowd of several thousand fairgoers converged on the spacious Court of the Universe, where, as a high point of the festivities, Mr. Graham was scheduled to make a short address. The occasion was also marked by Mr. Graham's receipt of the George Washington Carver Memorial Institute Award, a presentation for outstanding contribution to the betterment of race relations and human welfare.
I shall keep it and someday have the opportunity of presenting it to the one whom I shall someday present all awards that I have received, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He is the one that taught us love and understanding. We live in a generation when the world has become a neighborhood without being a brotherhood. And if ever there was an hour for prayer and for love and for understanding, if America is to fulfill the American dream, it's at this hour.
Millions will be drawn to this greatest of all expositions, from the deep pockets of America, from the farthest shores across the sea. All will leave Flushing Meadow firmly believing in the splendor of man. But some will have encountered a new dimension, the dimension of the Spirit, having touched the splendor of God.